Get comfy, folks, because in Hollywood, land of glitz, glamour, and jaw-dropping gossip, a film based on your favorite novel can transform from a guaranteed crowd pleaser into all-out legal mayhem, quicker than you can say Oscar buzz. And guess who's smack in the center of it all? Blake Lively, who might actually be staring down a 5-year prison sentence. Yup, you heard me right. When a lawsuit loses its spark, why not toss in a dash of potential jail time to really turn heads? So, go on and grab your popcorn, preferably that fancy hand-popped kind by someone with a fancy title, because the behind-the-scenes circus here is wilder than the storyline of the very movie they've seemingly forgotten they wanted to make in the first place. But let's rewind to the beginning, way back. You remember the frenzy when it ends with us? The blockbuster novel that had everybody's heart in a vice was set to become a major motion picture. Everyone practically lost their minds from excitement. Justin Baldoni, famous for wringing out every last tear from a story, was lined up to direct. Blake Lively, queen of wit with plenty of emotional range, was cast as the lead. The stars looked aligned, and the entire universe, not to mention fans and the press, was convinced we'd be getting something iconic. The casting sounded perfect. The director had the right vibe, and the whole project felt like it was on track to be unforgettable. Then, as soon as filming began, kaboom! The drama avalanche started. Rumor had it Lively wanted to inject some of her trademark comedic flair into the screenplay, but Baldoni had zero interest in losing the heartbreak-heavy vibe that made the novel so powerful. Sure, who needs heartbreak and depth when you can crack jokes while decked out in couture, right? That's not even mentioning the costume drama that would eventually come into play. Don't worry, we'll get to that. For the moment, just imagine fans who were bracing themselves for a life-changing tearjerker, watching in horror as their beloved story turned into a war zone backstage. You know, we've come across evidence that shows that even her own representatives knew that she was threatening and mean and tough and wanted to get her way. This is not something that we wanted out there. It's not something that Justin wanted out there. In fact, it hurts the movie. It doesn't help the movie. My favorite part of what I've read of this suit so far is that Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on. We're not talking War and Peace. This is a book that's probably written at a second grade reading level. Let's keep it 100, fam. If you're adapting a novel built on deep emotions and self-discovery, maybe you don't want to drown it in over-the-top humor. Allegedly, Baldoni tried to keep it serious. Meanwhile, Lively's team was pushing for sassy jokes and gorgeous visuals. Because what's heartbreak without glamour, right? As if wearing high fashion to convey emotional devastation was the perfect strategy. When the initial on-set pictures leaked, fans were stunned. Wait, weren't we supposed to be sobbing, not laughing? The snapshots had a vibe that felt more rom-com than gut-wrenching tragedy. Naturally, the internet erupted, and Lively and Baldoni joined the meltdown, though they did it quietly behind closed doors. There's a whisper floating around that Baldoni told Lively something like, "Cut the comedy or the novel's soul is toast," while Lively responded, "Audiences today want a sprinkle of laughs." Because obviously heartbreak is easier to swallow with a witty remark locked and loaded. Am I right? For a little while, it seemed like a typical Hollywood clash of personalities. Nothing too bizarre, but then, oh boy, it escalated into a courtroom extravaganza. Rumor says Lively felt sidelined, which led Baldoni to whip out what appears to be a mountain of evidence. And hold on to your seatbelts, because here's the real head turner. Baldoni hit Lively with a defamation lawsuit for the small sum of $400 million. Yes, $400 million, because darling, if you're going to fight in Tinseltown, you better do it big. No spare change lawsuits allowed. He says that Lively publicly accused him of being a control freak who shut her out of vital decisions, all while she was the one supposedly pushing for comedic rewrites in the background. So, was she just an actor being brushed aside? Or was she the one calling the shots from day one? Depends on who you ask. Anywhere else, this would be your classic he said, she said. But in Hollywood, you throw in a few zeros and watch every gossip outlet salivate for the next leak. Because if your reputation's going down, you might as well do it in epic fashion. That's where things got really messy. Baldoni's side insists she was front and center, championing the comedic bits and the high fashion look, only to turn around and claim it was forced on her later. So, is she the victim of a runaway concept? Or was she orchestrating it from the jump? Opinions in Tinseltown are split. Some say she was just going along with what everyone wanted, then freaked out once the backlash rolled in. Others say she pivoted faster than you can say Louis Vuitton the moment the negative feedback started stacking up. Whatever the truth, it's crystal clear. This fiasco is 1000% classic Hollywood. An emotionally charged story is being drowned out by public squabbles about comedic lines and branded belts. If that doesn't capture capture the essence of La La Land, I don't know what does. Oh, but we're not done bringing in even more major players. Enter Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's comedic genius hubby, who was rumored to be contributing jokes or cameo ideas. I mean, if you're married to the man behind Deadpool, why wouldn't you tap into that comedic gold, especially if you're aiming to lighten up a tearjerker? But once fans realized the film was veering into laugh territory, guess what? Any talk of Reynolds' cameo appearances vanished. Poof. Suddenly, it was like nobody could remember if Ryan Reynolds was ever part of the conversation. At the end of the day, Hollywood's drama overshadowed a once promising adaptation. Just when you think the pot can't get any spicier, a new rumor hits that Blake Lively might have exaggerated or even fabricated certain pieces of proof. And honey, this could seriously shake things up. Some inside sources are muttering about messages, transcripts, and maybe even questionable video clips that totally clash with Lively's story about how much comedy she wanted. We know that big-name lawsuits in Hollywood usually revolve around money, fame, and bragging rights. But the mention of potential jail time flips the entire script. Is Blake Lively, style icon and champion of sassy remarks, really risking up to 5 years behind bars for something like perjury? In an industry that thrives on NDAs, hush money, script leaks, and quiet settlements, there's a theory that this Lively might do jail time talk is a crafty intimidation tactic. Settle this, or else we hand over the evidence to the authorities, they hint, as if the very thought of prison isn't enough to cause anyone to break out in a cold sweat. This goes far beyond losing a gig or paying a fat settlement. This is serious jail talk, people. And the rumor mill is working overtime. Feels like every day a new leak surfaces, kind of like a Kardashian accidentally revealing a new storyline. Are these leaks real, or are they just another way to squeeze Lively? Let's be honest, brandishing the possibility of a prison jumpsuit is a pretty powerful way to say, we mean business. Meanwhile, let's not forget the costume meltdown that added another layer to this chaos. Lively initially seemed all in for glamming up It Ends With Us, wanting to jazz up the tragic narrative with designer looks. But when fans and critics started giving her side-eye for turning heartbreak into a runway show, she quickly changed course.